Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and I am here today in the lovely home of my lovely sister, Charla. You guys have, if you've paid attention, you have probably seen her commenting to just about every one of my videos. And I'm here in Oklahoma. I went to a family reunion in the Texas Panhandle over the weekend. Today is Wednesday, right? So then Sunday, I traveled to Oklahoma City and visited her son, my nephew, and his family for a few hours. And then came on over here, and I've been here a couple of days. And we did some fun stuff. We did some book shopping yesterday, and we got our hair cut, both of us. And I thought it would be fun to do a video where we show what we purchased. And also, we did some book swapping. I brought some books with me to her. Not too many, because I had sent her a box of books before Christmas.
Yes.
And then when I got here, she had a box of books to give me. So we'll show what we're swapping, and then we'll show what books we got in our shopping trip. So you want to say anything to
Are you
going to
tell them your catchy title, or is that just going to be on your
Oh,
thumbnail?
it'll be in the
Okay.
in the thing, yes.
So Elizabeth brought me some books and another item. I'll show
Do
you
you
in a
want me
minute.
to
I'm going to hold them up
hold
and
it?
let Elizabeth tell you about them more.
Okay.
Since they're new to me, she knows more about them.
Okay. Well, this one you may have seen before on my channel, because I read this one just a couple of months ago. It's called Quilted with Love, Discovering the Patterns of Life's Grace and Beauty by Debbie Salter Goodwin. And it's just a really pretty book with lots of quilting references, and the backdrop is quilts. And you may guess from this room that Charlotte is a quilter. We are in her sewing room, which is a renovated garage. And it's beautiful in here. I wish I could show you all of it, but I think we've got one of the best views in the room here with our little friend back here, and an antique quilt and some of her stash. This is not all of it. This is some of it. Like book readers who have a huge library, quilters have a big stash of fabric.
They do.
If they're worth anything, you know, if they're good at what they do, they've got a stash. So you'll see a little theme here in the books that I brought her.
Mm-hmm.
So this is by Reba McEntire, Comfort from a Country Quilt. At some point, I want to read this, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it with her, and then when she's done, she can always give it back to me. I think this is nonfiction, finding new inspiration and strength from old-fashioned values. So Reba McEntire grew up in a town maybe an hour-ish from where we grew up. And we've both seen her in person and have met her.
If anybody that knows Reba really well is listening, we know she's from Daisy, not really just...
Not Kiowa.
Kiowa. She's from Daisy, Oklahoma.
Like we're from Bennington.
And actually, I think if you're there's another little community outside of Daisy that she's probably actually from. But we know that area pretty well. So,
yeah.
And people would think Keota is a little town. Daisy's smaller, and the little community she's from is even smaller than that.
What's Keota? You mean Kiowa?
Not Kiowa. I'm sorry. Keota's
That's a different
Larry's
small town.
family's buried. Yeah, sorry. Those K-towns got me.
So we've both seen her. You know, I've mentioned how when I was a kid, when we would go to the Cattleman's Banquet, our dad would say, I hope Reba's going to be singing this year. She's going to really make something of herself. So Charlotte is a little older than me, so she remembers seeing Reba probably when she was really in high school.
Reba's about a year younger than I am, and they would play at a toke at the Cattlemen's Association, and they would be like 13, 14 singing, and I was, around that same age. And she and Paige and Susie,
their sister.
There were three of them that would be singing, and maybe one of the parents was playing an instrument or something. That's been a long time ago. Yeah, something like that.
Reba McEntire history. Anyway, so so when I saw this and it was Reba and it had something to do with a quilt, I had to go ahead and grab it. I forget where I found it.
And I can talk about this one.
Yes, because we both read it.
I have read the entire Jennifer Chiaverini Quilting Elm Creek Quilts series, and that's how I got interested in finding a quilt retreat, quilt camp as they called it here, and attending. And recently just decided that I wanted to reread the series because I'm working on a quilt block of the month quilt challenge with some friends, and we're using the Harriet's Journey from Elm Creek quilting book. It has quilt blocks in it. We're using that, and that made me want to go back and revisit the books. And so I had purchased a I didn't have this one yet, so Elizabeth knew that I didn't have this one yet and bought that for me. And so I've only reread a couple so far and got off doing something else. But
and I've read all of them as well. Yeah. And at the time, I've had some of them in my possession that she wasn't collecting them, and then all of a sudden she's like, "I think I'm gonna collect those." So I'm like, "Okay, well, let me know which ones you don't have yet." So I ran across this one. Interesting little fact too is that when I was still working, I had a coworker who is from State College, Pennsylvania, where I think this is supposed to be set. Yeah. So
that's where they lived before they moved to Weatherford. That's a larger town close to the Weatherford. That's where Sarah and Matt were from before they moved.
Okay, and those are characters in the book. So if you've never read any of the Elm Creek quilts, it starts with Quilter's Apprentice. That's the first one. Yes. It's kind of a strange series in that it bounces around. There's a couple of central characters that flow through the contemporary novels, but there are some historical novels, and they're about the ancestors of one of the main characters in the contemporary line. And so I always say, like, I like to read things in order, but in this case, it doesn't really go in order. It bounces around a lot. You need to read
the first two before you just jump in and do the other ones. And the second one is around Robin.
Yeah.
It's the second book.
Okay.
So.
And this one, it actually is set a little bit in the future. So that's kind of different. So there's some in the past, some in the present, and this one in the future. So I
knew there was one in the future. That's the one. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
this is called the Lumbee Lines.
I know nothing about that.
By Gail Fraser. I don't really know anything about this either. I think it's a 6-book series. I finally collected them all, and I found this book, a different copy of this book, at my library book sale, and I just looked at it and I thought, "Oh, that looks really cute." And I looked it up on Goodreads, and I scrolled down, and Charlotte's one of my Goodreads friends, and it said that she had clicked want to read. She had it on her want to read list, and I was like, "Oh, well, if Charlotte wants to read it, it must be something worth looking at." So I grabbed it, and then I asked her about it later, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know anything about that. I must have just seen it and clicked on it."
I think that was it. I saw it and read the little blurb.
Sounds interesting. So I've eventually collected them all and haven't started reading them, but then I found an extra copy, and I thought, well, I would go ahead and bring this to her.
I'll read it and let Elizabeth know how it is.
Because she always is faster getting things read than me. But it's set in a little town. It says nestled in the Northwest. Is a quaint little town, and its quirky residents are proud to call home. And the town, I think, is Lumbee. That's the name of the town. I think it's a railroad town, maybe. But I think it is lightly faith-based, and that's really all I know.
And there's one more thing.
Oh, yeah. I brought her this puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle. It's something about quilting, because there's quilts on it, and the red truck. I forget, the name of it is called Quilt Farm. So that would be a good definition of here.
Next winter. Project for next winter.
They live on a farm, and she's a quilter. So anyway, and I brought you some stickers of cows with quilts on them.
We put those in.
You put them away already.
We put those in my sewing notebook.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
All right. So do you want to see what she saved for me? I'll pause and we'll put these away and grab the other batch. All right, so next we'll show you the books that Charlotte saved for me. So she's been telling me about these, and of course, being a cozy mystery reader, I've heard of these, but I have not ever read them, and I didn't own them. And a few months ago, she was telling me about these. It's the Seaside Cafe Mysteries by Bree Baker. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of those." Well, she's like, "They're so good. They're really good." And I'm pretty sure some of the ladies from Killing Time with Cozies, well, there's not just ladies there anymore, but some of the people from Killing Time with Cozies have read these and really enjoyed them. So she has given me, I think, the whole series. There may be one more, but it's the first
at least
6.
One more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we've got Live and Let Chai. No Good Tea Goes Unpunished. Tide and Punishment. A Call for Kelp. I like that. Closely Harbored Secrets. And the sixth one, Partners in Lime. So if you've read any of those, let me know what you thought of them. Did you love them as much as Charla did? For those of you that don't know, tell us a little bit about the premise for Live and Let Shine.
There is a 30-something, she's 28, young lady who was engaged. She lived in this, it takes place on the Outer Banks of South Carolina, North Carolina, maybe that's North Carolina, and she grew up there. She comes back home after 10 years of chasing her rodeo boyfriend around, and then he decided he didn't want to get married after all. She comes home with a broken heart, and there's a murder, and so then she gets acquainted, at first clashingly, with the town's only detective who has come there, and I guess I shouldn't give spoilers. I don't know how long. Soon into the book it tells why he came there, but there's a reason why he came there. And then, so in each book, there's a murder on this little island where nothing bad happens, So
it's the way it goes.
They're clean, they're entertaining, and they're not quite as elementary as one series you've talked about.
Oh, yeah, the series that shall not be named. Okay, so I have to ask, did you read them in order?
I did.
Oh, my goodness, because she does not always read in order.
If I have them, I read them in order. It's just if I get a free book, like I do sometimes, and it sounds interesting, I'm going to read it.
So her library, instead of having book sales, they just give away free books. When they weed stuff out, or if people donate things, they'll keep what they want, and the rest they just give away. So she's all the time she'll post pictures. She's like, I got these free today.
And usually it's just one or two odd and end books, but that series of 6.
So you got those free?
I got those free all at one time at the free giveaway at the librry, all 6. Now that was unusual to get all 6 in a series that somebody hadn't picked through. So I probably got there the day that they first put them out.
Yeah. Wow.
And I thought, I felt kind of bad. And I told the ladies, I said, I feel kind of bad taking all these. They go, take them. That's what they're for.
She's a good library patron anyway. She checks out a lot of stuff. So I think this one was also free.
I can hold it show them
this is book 6 in the Mom Zone Mysteries, which also goes by the name Ellie something, I think. But it's called Mimosas, Mischief, and Murder by Sarah Rosette. I've got the first 3, and I have not read any of them, but this is book 6. And she did read this, and I don't think you've read any of the others.
No. It was, usually the Cozy Mysteries, you can read them, and they give enough information that you can enjoy it, even if you haven't read the rest of them.
Yeah. All right, so then she can maybe tell you about this one.
Yeah,
let me read it. Inheriting Edith by Zoe Fishman. She thinks she got this at Dollar Tree or Dollar General, but we can put this one down.
Okay. This is an intriguing concept. This lady she had a college education and worked in accounting or really a high up job. She talked to the cleaning lady about how much money she was making, and she was getting burned out at her job. She quit her job and started cleaning houses. So she met this author, this artist. Now, this lady's an artist. The lady suffered from depression and ended up killing herself. You know that at the beginning, so that's not a spoiler. Okay, that's how the book starts.
Setup, yeah.
So this lady that was the artist that killed herself, didn't have any children, hadn't been married. She gave this cleaning lady / friend her house with the stipulation that she had to take her cantankerous elderly mother who was getting Alzheimer's if she took the house.
So she could inherit the house if she also took care of her mother. She had to inherit the mother. That's...
It was good.
She was telling me about it in the car yesterday. I was like, that's a big string attached.
And the lady has a 3-year-old daughter. It's just her and the 3-year-old daughter.
It sounds really good. Have y'all ever read that? Has anyone ever read that? It sounds really good. I'm interested for sure. So, okay, we can set that one down. So she gave me a Debbie Maycumber bind-up of 3 books. The Forgetful Bride, Sugar and Spice, Friends and Then Some.
They're typical Debbie Maycumber.
Yeah, Friends and Then Some I think is one of her older ones, and maybe the others are too. I think I've read it. Are all of them holiday themed that you know of? Okay, all right. Did you get that new, or did you get that at the library?
I thought I got it at the library, but it's possible I bought it on an impulse buy at Walmart at Christmas. Who knows? It's yours now.
So she gave me this Janet Ivanovich book called Love in a Nutshell. It's also by Dorian Kelly. And she said she really liked this one. My only experience with Janet Ivanovich is the first two Stephanie Plum books, which I didn't love, but Charlotte has never steered me wrong with book recommendations. So if she says this is really good, I'm going to take her at her word. So tell us a little bit about this one. I think it's a romance.
So I told Elizabeth to read it with an open mind and not judge it harshly because the main male character in here owns a micro brewery.
Yeah.
And I didn't want her to say, oh, it's about beer, I'm not reading it, because it's really not about beer at all.
Okay.
There's somebody is trying to sabotage this company, and they're doing bad things, and they get worse and worse, and like people are getting hurt, people are getting murdered, and he hires her as an undercover employee to try to find out who's doing this to him.
You think it's
And
an
then-
inside
And
thing?
yes,
Okay.
possibly.
Okay.
And so it goes from there, and it's very intriguing. And I didn't guess until the very end who was doing it.
So it is more of a mystery.
Yes,
then,
you
than
can
a
definitely
romance.
use
Is there
this in your mysteries. Yes.
Okay. Is
There's
it a
some romance. but
romance
it's-
also?
Yes, but it's
Okay.
more. It's both. I guess it's a combination.
Okay.
But it was very intriguing. You wanted to keep reading to find out what was going on. Who was
Okay.
doing this.
And then the last one she just gave back to me. She thinks I gave her this. I don't remember if I did or not, but I already have it, and I'll probably just add it to my eBay store. This is book 2 in the Hope series by Philip Gulley. The Hope series is a spin-off series of the Harmony series. So I've read all the Harmony books. I haven't read Hope. She didn't love Harmony. She read a couple of them. I was like, nah, I'm not going to read that. So
I probably read more than 2, but I just didn't love it. I
Yeah,
probably read
yeah.
all you gave me, but I didn't love them.
Okay, and it's all good. I will probably be adding this to my eBay inventory. It's a nice book, nice hardcover, in great condition. All right, so now we're going to show you what we purchased. For sure, what we purchased yesterday. I had purchased some on the way here. I stopped at the Pea Picker Books in Tyler, Texas, which if you saw my book shopping adventures from this time last year, I found just a little bit of footage in there, and I only bought one book because I just didn't have time to shop. This time I made sure to have enough time to go in there and shop, and I did buy several, mostly romances, because that's really the majority of their I should say the majority of their inventory. They have a really good selection of romance books. So I'm going to pause the camera again and we'll show you what we bought. Okay, so next we want to show what Charla bought yesterday. We went to Tulsa and they have a bookstore there called Gardener's Books and Music. I think it's the official title.
Gardener's
Used books and I think music is in the title. They do have music and comic books and all that. But to my understanding, it's the largest used bookstore in Oklahoma, in the whole state. And it was only my second time going. And it was so funny because Charlotte's very time conscious and I'm not. So, by the time we'd been there a while, she was like, okay, we probably need to hurry and go. She's like, we've been here 2 hours. I was like, really? So I was just like literally sitting on the floor surrounded by books, just going through books. So I can lose my life in a bookstore. Anyway, so this is what she bought. So we'll show you the Christian fiction first. You mean to hold some of it, or you can hand it to me after you're done?
I don't take as long to look things up. I look at it, read the back, and think, that sounds interesting. I'll buy it. And if I like it, I like it. And I don't. But I don't have a booktube channel. So I read for entertainment. So these 4 were in the Christian fiction section, and I'll just kind of peruse the aisle and look at the backs of the books. And I wasn't particularly looking for Lisa Wingate.
I was going to say,
won't
she
get
did go
those.
looking
Yes,
for Lisa
yes.
Wingate. She's read a lot of Lisa Wingate. And
So if I see a spine and for some reason if it looks interesting, I'll pull it out. Well, this said Threads of Change. I said, oh. And it's got a quilt on it. I said, oh. So I read the back and I said, I'll take that one. And
do you want to give us in a nutshell?
It takes place in the
about?
1850s, before the Civil War, and there's a family that lives in Louisiana. The grandfather owns a lumber mill, and they are Christians, and they have prayed, and they're going to sell their mill and move west because they don't want to be caught up in the middle of the conflict between the North and the South.
Okay.
So
it says it's the first book in the Quilting story series. And it's about 4 cousins or 4 granddaughters.
And
so probably each book is about a different cousin.
The lady that's going to be the main character in this one, I've read a couple of chapters, and she has lost her husband in a mill accident. but they don't know that he's dead. They never found his body. So I'm curious, is he going to show back up later that he really didn't die? They're telling her he's dead. We know you haven't found the body. So anyway.
So it's by Jody Barrows, and then it is labeled A Quilting Story Part 1. And it's not super long, so I'm guessing that, she just kind of like made this one big story and then divided it into the 4 parts.
And this is called Crossroads by Nancy Moser, and it was also in the Christian fiction. And it says that it's a rich lady who buys up her hometown because it's going to be a ghost town, sounds like. And then she does some kind of a campaign to get people to come. She gives them the property if they'll come there. And she wants to control everybody, but it sounds like she loses control of people, which, if you know humans, you're going to not be able to control them very well.
Right.
Anyway, so it said it was Christian fiction, sounded kind of intriguing, so I decided to buy that one. And, the front cover makes it look pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then I love Lisa Wingate. The first novel of hers that I ever read was Before We Were Yours. That she wrote that one standalone. And then I've read the one that she wrote about the true stories with
Judy Christie.
Mm-hmm. And so then I started going to my library and checking out everything they had, and I've read everything that our library has by Lisa Wingate. And so I looked at Gardner's and found, I think this is a duology of these two, and I think it was the Texas. I apologize, I didn't look up the name of the series, but I believe there's just 2 books in this series. So this is Never Say Never and Talk of the Town by Lisa Wingate. Okay. And I think they'll be good because I've never read anything of hers that I did not
Do you
enjoy.
know anything about the premise? Do you know which one's first? It's blurbed by Debbie Maycomer. So sometimes life's storms blow in unexpected possibilities. Never say never.
Let me look at the
Daily Texas. It says
I think
enjoy more of
that
Daily
may
Texas,
be the
so that may be
series.
the name of the series.
That may be the name
Awesome.
of the series. Okay.
Okay, and then you also got those.
Okay, and
one is nonfiction.
These are also faith-based, and this was just a little devotional journey of faith that looked good, and this was on a sale rack.
So she got all those for $1.
Yeah, and so
Each.
I have read Vanetta Chapman before, an Amish series, and gave to Elizabeth a 3-book series that I really liked, and so I saw her name on this 2 short story bind up, and it was $1, so I just decided to buy that. And then this one sounded good, The Christmas Child and Gift Wrapped Family, and they're both
Love inspired.
So I like inspirational books. I'm not real big on romance anymore, but if it's kind of a women's fiction that has some romance in it, that's fine. But not like the big heartthrob kind of romance, but if there's some romance in it. So those looked good for $1, and I got those.
And then you got a big quilting book or something.
Yeah,
too.
you want to talk about these two?
Oh yeah, I forgot about those.
Okay. I like Jodie Thomas mostly. One of my favorite books that she wrote was Mondays on Main. So
I love that. Mornings on Main.
Mornings on Main.
Yeah.
So I found this and decided to buy them, and Elizabeth said that it's some in a series. This is just down the road. What's the name of the series?
The Harmony series, which I've read all of. So she actually found 2 of these at Gardner's, and then we stopped by another little Salvation Army. I see little. It was a really good sized Salvation Army, and I ran in and looked at their books. She stayed out in the car with Emily, and I found this one. So it's book 4 in the series. It's a 8 or 8 book series plus a novella.
Elizabeth is familiar with this, but I looked and I said, "Oh, so it's got what'd you call that on the inside?"
A step back.
Just so that
it's got a step
it's really
back.
pretty. All 3 of those have.
And she has read the first book in the Harmony series. As we were in the car, I was telling her about the first book. She goes, "That sounds familiar. You may have sent me that." I said, "You're right. I did send you that." So she's read book 1.
So
now we just need to find books 2 and
Chance
3.
of a Lifetime, and it's book 5.
5. Yeah.
And then this one is.
Oh, and look, it says it on the thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And this is Can't Stop Believing, which is book 6. So I don't know if I'll go find 2 and 3. I may just read 4, 5, and 6 and
we'll see if
enjoy
we can,
them.
All right. If we can find them for
And then
I was first drawn to those books by the covers, because aren't the covers
They are beautiful.
so pretty? I don't know if you can see close up, but they're just beautiful. That kind of pastoral type scene I love.
So when we first got to Gardner, she went over looking for some books. I won't spoil you. That she's going to show you, and so I was kind of keeping an eye on Emily, and there was all their quilting books. And so I thought, I can't just peruse this whole aisle and not buy at least one quilting book. So I bought this one.
What was it? $4.95.
$4.95.
Oh,
I bought this one because it did have some things in it that looked interesting. So let's see if I can find a picture of something.
What's a scrap apple?
Yeah, oh, I like scrappy quilts. So let me see if I can find a picture of one. I thought this was really a cute quilt. And I think it's got some raw edge. It looked to me like I could be wrong. It was raw edge.
It does kind of look.
Yeah.
Is this so?
Yes, and I liked that one. Okay, there's a block called a pineapple block. And that's basically a pineapple block. So I think they just took a play on words there and called it a scrap
because they look
apple.
more like apples.
Because
they don't have the
and then they have the red
top,
center.
So.
All right, so that was what I bought at Gardner's yesterday.
Cool.
And then one of them Elizabeth bought for me at the Salvation Army.
All right, so we'll pause and I will get what I got yesterday. So actually, before I show you what I bought yesterday at Gardner's, I'll show you what I bought today, because earlier this morning I ran up to the town, one of the towns that she lives near, and visited the local thrift store. She didn't come with me. Emily was wanting to rest, needing to rest, and so I just ran up there myself.
Charlotte was wanting to rest too.
Charlotte was wanting to rest.
Older sister, remember?
So I found 3 books. And this one I got not knowing really for sure if either of us had this or not, but it looked like something that we would both like. It's called The Quilt of Life by Mary Tatum. And I got it home and she's like, I might have that. And I said, I might have it too, but I can always add it to my eBay inventory. So we're going to check and see if either of us have this one. If I have it, it's not this edition. And I do recognize the author's name, Mary Tatum, but I know I have something by her, but I don't know if it's this one. So it was worth, going ahead and grabbing it for $2. So this one I kind of got with Emily in mind. She's sitting over here. I haven't even shown it to her. But this is Barney's Storybook Treasury. All the kids' books were $1, so it was definitely worth it, even if I start looking through it and Emily already has the books. I think this is a bind up of several Barney books. So even if she has all of these, I can always add this to my eBay inventory. But it's a nice thick book, and she loves to turn through books like this. So, just to give you an idea of
we didn't
what
even show the 2 I bought Emily yesterday.
Oh, that's right. She bought Emily a couple of books.
Yeah.
Do you want to go?
Well, not right now. We might do that
okay.
in a minute.
So we will edit those in right here. Okay, we're going to cut in here really quick. We've got Emily over here to join us to show us the 2 books that Charla got her yesterday at Gardner's. She was trying to help keep her occupied while I was spending 2.5 hours looking at books. So she found this neat one that it's a music book. I mean, it's about music and instruments, and didn't even realize till she'd already bought it that it's signed by the author. You want to hold it up and show them?
Just hold it up like this, Emily.
Hold
show
it.
The front.
It is called the what is it? Look, move here. The
Collided Donut?
What is
Collided
it?
Notes.
Collided Notes.
Yeah.
Collided Notes and the Mixed Up Orchestra. Oh, yeah, it even says autographed copy. So that's cute. And so Emily has already looked at it many times. And then you want to show them this one? It's called Lottie's New Friend. So the cover by Petra Mathers. So she has already gotten lots of enjoyment out of those.
What else did you get on your trip?
You want to show them Bucky? We stopped at 2 Bucky's on the way to Texas. He's already wearing a little bit of lunch, but we'll have to clean him up. But she wanted to get a Bucky, and so she got it, paid for it herself, and we had to buy shirts for everybody in the family and all of that too. So
well, thank you for sure.
Yes. Anyway, it was fun. And
wave at them. Wave at the people.
Wave at everybody. All right, so now we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled programming. So we're back. Then I picked up a cozy mystery today. I'm pretty sure I've heard Tiffany from the Beach Bum Bookworm talking about the Poppy Harmon series by Lee Hollis. It is set in a retirement home, and I looked it up, and it is book 1. This is Poppy Harmon Investigates, and it says that the name of the series is Desert Flowers. So I think I've heard her just call it the Poppy Harmon series. But anyway, it's by Lee Hollis. And if I remember correctly, Tiffany says it's hilarious. So this is a nice hardcover book. It's not it's not an ex-library book. And it's really nice condition. So I went ahead and grabbed that. And And that will segue me into the other cozy mysteries that I bought, not only yesterday, but I bought a few of these at Pea Picker Books in Tyler, Texas. So I'll just go ahead and show them all to you. I've already mixed them up at this point, so I don't remember which ones I got at which store, and it doesn't really matter. These are all cozy mysteries. So I did get 3 books by Laura Bradford. I got book 3 in the Emergency Dessert Squad Mysteries. I still don't have book 1. I'm pretty sure book 2 is the one I have at home.
I think you got that one on your way. I don't think you got that yesterday.
Okay.
I kind of know, I think, which ones you got yesterday. But
anyway, this is another series that Tiffany, the Beach Bum Bookworm, has talked about that she says is really hilarious. So the caterers who do dessert, their catering truck is an old ambulance, and so they cover dessert emergencies. So that sounds really fun. And then another series by Laura Bradford that I have not started reading is the Amish Mysteries, and this is book 3, Shunned and Dangerous. I think I probably have all of them now. I may be missing 1 or 2, but this is book 7, A Killer Carol. And I don't know if I'll get started on this series this year, but definitely by next year. I have just been kind of hesitating to start it until I finished some of the other series. So last year I finished Amish Candy Shop. So I might go ahead and get started on these for Amish in April and read book 1, which I can't remember at this moment which one that is. Okay, so I did pick this one up in Tyler, I think. This is Diva Las Vegas by Eileen Davidson. This is book 3 in the Soap Opera Mysteries. In case you don't know, Eileen Davidson was one of the main actresses who played one of the main characters in The Young and the Restless. Is that even still running? I don't even know. I don't watch TV anymore. Anyway, she has this 3-book series. I've read the first one. I own the second one, and I saw this, and I thought I'll just go ahead and grab it. It was enjoyable. Yeah, see, she played Ashley Abbott. If you remember,
No, I don't remember. I never watched it. My mother-in-law did. But the reason I said I think it is because Emily was sleeping and I had the TV on for her, so I was going to put it back over on the news channel before I turned the TV off.
See it in the guide.
And when I went back to the news channel, guess what was on before I turned it off?
It was Young and the Restless.
Yep.
All right. So I also picked up book 4 in the Rebecca Robbins Mysteries by Joelle Charvino. This is a roller skating mystery. I understand that Joelle Charvino's mother was maybe a professional roller skater, and so that's how she even knew about roller skating in order to write this series. Now, I haven't read any of these. She also has a Glee Club mystery series, which I haven't read, but I have read her YA dystopian series called The Testing.
More than likely, if she was a professional roller skater, she was in roller derby.
Roller derby.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's just, I don't know.
I mean, she could have been like a roller skater dancer. They could have had some that,
some kind of a performer or whatever. But anyway, so that I just remember reading that somewhere.
What do you want first? And
I'll just take it through. All right, so I did a feature video last month for March Mystery Madness. I did a series of videos, and one of the series that I talked about in one of the videos was the Booktown Mysteries by Lorna Barrett. And I did not have book 3, book plate special, so I'm glad now that I have that. And then there's a Ministry is Murder series by Emily Richards. They have a church setting, but I don't think that they're Christian books. It's just that's the setting. And this one is Let There Be Suspects. It's book 2. I've got book 5, and then I have book 1 and either 3 or 4. I think I'm still missing 1. But I don't know. I may have them all by now, but they look cute. I've read several other Emily Richards books. In fact, she took some books back for credit, and there's an Emily Richards series that I've read, and also I had given her paperback copies, and so she was able to sell those back for credit.
At
Gardner's used bookstore, yeah. This is one of the Farmer's Market Mysteries by Paige Shelton. It's book 6, Bushel Full of Murder. I think Ro from Cozy Reads Mysteries. Ro, if you're watching this, have you read any of these? I'm trying to remember, or maybe I'm mixing it up with the Stacey McLaughlin series. But anyway, these look cute. I have a few of these, and I didn't have that one. And then I was just asking Charlotte if she's read any of these Quilting Mysteries by Mary Marks, and she said no. I think these are set in California. I've got book 1 and then maybe book 8, and then I think this is book 7. So I don't have some of the earlier books, but this is called Not on Her Life. Each of the titles have the word not, spelled Knot, as part of the title. And I think it's an 8 or 9 book series. So this one has some kind of a baby theme. So anyway, anything quilting, I always pick it up, even if I'm not ever going to read it, which I think I will read those, but I always get it because I want to offer it to Charla because she's a quilter. And then Jen McKinley has, I think, 3 big series, and one of them is the Hat Shop Mysteries. And I have most of them, but I don't think I had this one. I actually bought this before leaving home. I stopped by our public library to turn in some books, and I did that like on our way out. So I just had this in the car. I thought I'd go ahead and bring it in. Buried to the Brim. It's number 6 in the Hat Shop Mysteries by Jen McKinley. So that's all the cozy mysteries that I got. I also got some love-inspired romances, a couple of Amish ones, and most of the ones I got are from the various canine series. So I'm not going to show them all to you by title, but let me just kind of show you in a nutshell. So give me a second. Okay, we're going to have to make the rest of this quick because it says that my phone is running low on battery. Before we get to the canine mysteries, a few other mass market paperbacks that I got. I found this at the Pea Picker books, just randomly in a bunch of romance books, and I would not classify this necessarily as a romance, but it is one of the Fair Acre books in mass market paperback. It's the Fair Acre Festival by Miss Reed. I've been collecting Miss Reed books. I have a lot of her books in hardcover, and I don't even know if I've ever heard of this book, but it's part of the Fair Acre series, and I was excited to get it. I also happened to find an old one of Lori Copeland's when she was still writing mainstream romance. This is before she started writing Christian romance. This one is called Dancy's Woman, and I don't know anything about it. And then I did find a few Amish books from the Love Inspired line. This one is book 2 in the Amish Witness Protection Program. It's called Amish Safe House by Debbie. I'm not sure how to say her name. Is it like maybe Gusti? It's a 3-book series, and they're all by different authors. And I already have the first one. It's by Maggie K. Black, and it's at home. And I just I picked that up, and I thought, oh, it looks interesting. And then I looked it up and saw that it was book 2 of one that I already had. So that was definite must to get. So these 3 are by Allison Stone from the Apple Creek series, and it is an Amish series. I have a few, and I didn't have these. So number 2 is Plain Peril. Number 4 is Plain Protector, and number 6 is Plain Sanctuary. 6. Yeah. So then I got a few of the canine, and I'm not going to show them each to you individually. A few I will, because I was really excited to find the last of the military canine that I didn't have. I picked up the wrong stack. Oh, here it is. So I've read these. This is the first canine series that I read, and the first and only so far. But I want to read them all now because I really love this series. And I will probably, now that I have read all of these and I finally found the last one in physical form, I'll put them all together in a lot and list them in my eBay store. So if you're interested in reading them, I have all 9 of them, and I'll be selling them. Okay, so then a few other random ones I didn't have. Here's one from the Rookie Canine Unit, one from the Classified Canine Unit, and 2 from the True Blue Canine Unit. Now there's another True Blue series, and it's called True Blue Brooklyn, and I found 4 of them. So I'm not going to read all the titles. I'll just show you. And at some point I may do a romance book haul, and I'll go more in depth. So I didn't have any of this series, and these are from 2015. So this may have been the first canine series that Love Inspired put out. It's the Capital Canine Unit, and I found 3 of them. I had about twice this many books in my bag at Gardner's, and then I knew I didn't want to spend that much money, so I decided to opt for the older ones, because at our used bookstores in Florida, they only keep on the shelves the ones that are 3 years and newer. They don't keep, they weed out the older ones. So I thought the older ones are going to be harder to find. So I ended up, I had a bunch from the Alaska Canine Unit series, but they are from 2021. So I had bought this maybe at Pea Picker, and I decided to put back all the others that I had found at Gardner's because I'll probably be able to find these at my local used bookstore, and I have plenty to read for the next 3 years before they start weeding those out, so it'll be fine. And the same for, actually, oh no, these are much older. So I only found 2 of these, or I would have gotten more. This is from 2013. It's the Texas Canine Unit series. So I've got 2 of these. I don't know what number they are, but I'll definitely need to be on the lookout for these because these are much older than the rest of them. So anyway, meanwhile, I've got plenty to read. I think at least one of the series, maybe the Rookie Canine Unit, is also on audio on Hoopla. So I'll probably get through those first and let those go, and then take my time about reading the ones that aren't available on audio. Anything else you want to say or add before we sign off?
She seriously did sit down in the middle of the floor in this area that wasn't busy and had books all the way around her. I should have taken a picture. But it was a good day yesterday. We had fun.
Yes, and it's been a good trip. I've enjoyed getting to see Charla and her husband, and also her son and his wife and their 2 boys. They live in Oklahoma City. So I got to see all of them, and I got to see a lot of cousins. I did get to see my brother. He came to the reunion, but since Charla couldn't come, I wanted to swing through here and visit with her and her family before heading back to Florida. And I have been working on a family directory for our family, and I was able to get a lot done on that. And she's helped me get a lot more done on it since I've been at her house. So it's been a good trip. I also even did my reseller live stream this morning that I do on the Rebel Resellers channel, and that was fun. So in the morning, early, Emily and I are going to be heading to Florida. I may do a little more book shopping on the way. There's a couple of spots that I've been to in the past that I might like to visit again, but I want to try not to spend, famous last words, try not to spend too much time.
She will do some book shopping on the way home.
And I don't know if I'll do any vlogging or not, but anyway, we shall see. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.
God bless you.